hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing. Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie. Today I have 6 all-new beach DIYs for you, and I'll be using items from the Dollar Tree. Now, for the first beach DIY, it's kind of, I guess, nautical as well. I wanted to make a Driftwood Lighthouse. So what I'm going to start with is just a Dollar Tree wood ruler. Just go ahead and remove the stickers on there. And I'm going to be using these wood slices. I think they look a lot like driftwood. You could always use real driftwood if you have it. But I wanted to show you some items that you could get at the Dollar Tree and that you could use for this. So I have quite a collection. Whenever I see these, I always grab them. They're my favorite of any of the wood slice. And what I'm going to do is just start trying to find the longer ones. I'm looking for flat ones and then the shorter ones. And what I want is I want a gradual transition from long to short as you go up like you would have in a lighthouse. And then I also have a couple pieces of driftwood there that I did find at the beach that I'm going to be using for this DIY as well. So I was looking for flat pieces because some of them have a little bit of a curve and kind of all about the same diameter. I got to that point and I realized I just have short and I just have long. Right now I need like a gradual transition. So to do that, I'm just going to cut these. And for that, I use my miter scissors. I got those miter scissors on Amazon. I do have those linked in my Amazon shop below. They work great on cutting these. I think my blade might be getting a little dull on these again, though. I might need to change them. But not too bad if I cut them and then just give them a quick sand. Just to kind of clear up any edges. I kind of like the rugged look. It looks like driftwood, but you don't want it like too falling apart there after being cut. And I'm just going to keep building that up. I want almost the entire ruler to be covered with these little wood pieces. I call them driftwood slices. I guess they're just wood slices. And just a gradual transition. I'm not really measuring before I cut because I know I can kind of fit it somewhere here. And I'm just measuring by size to try to get that gradual transition where it's a little bit skinnier at the top. It's just going to give it that classic lighthouse feel. And as you can see, the wood is pretty uniform. I mean, it's slightly different in color. I'm going to show you how I actually give it a little bit more variation because I think it just really adds a lot of character to this Driftwood Lighthouse project. So I think that is plenty of them. And even though I like the color on them, I want to stain some of them. So to do that, I just mixed a little bit of gray acrylic and some, I think it's burnt umber, like a brown acrylic. And I just want like that driftwood, gray, weathered look for some of them. And we're just going to do a really quick stain with this. So I take just some and go over the wood stem. And then while it's still wet, I just kind of go over it with a baby wipe. And that way you can still see that wood grain go through. It's just going to give a light gray stain and it's going to dry really quickly too. So way easier than staining when you just use paint like this. But I'm going to skip a couple, then stain it. As you can see, there's already a little bit of a variation. And I'm going to kind of mix it up. Like, I don't want it to be like that one. I only skipped one. Just to make it a little bit more random with the different colors. And I think this is going to make it match well with the driftwood that I actually found from the beach there. There's just a really weathered piece of driftwood that I thought might work for the top. And there's actually a piece that's actually like a piece of a palm tree that's a driftwood that I thought would be great for the bottom of this one, which is this one right here. I love it. I think it's the perfect bottom here for the lighthouse. The only problem is it's a little bit too thick. I think it's going to stick out a little bit too far. So what I'm going to do is take it to my saw. And as you can see, I just cut it down a little bit. The only problem with that is now it's got this straight, clean cut. And I don't want that. I want it to look like driftwood, right? So to do that, I just take my pliers and I just kind of like chew it up a little bit there at the end. Give it like a faux weathering there. And the color inside is still kind of brownish, so I went ahead and used that same gray-brown color that we mixed up to kind of stain the end to make it blend in with the driftwood vibe of that. And then I'm just going to give it a quick sanding. That'll give it a little bit of weathering as well. And I think this is a perfect base for the lighthouse like that. And then I can attach all of those wood slices to the ruler. And then I wanted to use this piece of driftwood. It's a very weathered piece of driftwood, but it kind of has a triangular shape, which is what I was going for the top of the lighthouse. It's just way too thick. So what I'm doing is actually just kind of chewing it apart, making it thinner. Since it's very weathered driftwood, it's pretty easy to do that, just to make the piece thinner. And then I cut it a little bit shorter, and then I also cut it to make it a little bit more triangular at the top. So I did 2 cuts on it, and it's still a little bit like too thick, so I do like kind of whittle it down a little bit. Also, all of those clean cuts on there, I want to chew those up a little bit. And just using like tools like pliers like that is just the easiest way to do it. I think that is looking way better. And I thought that'd be a really cute top for the Driftwood Lighthouse. Like I said, it was still a little bit too thick, so I just chewed it down a little bit more here by just removing some of the pieces. I found that the pliers worked better than the saw because it really gave you that weathered look. I am almost happy with it. Maybe just a little bit more off of here. And to even it out a little bit. And I think that looks pretty good. Now it is still thicker than the wood slices. So I'm actually going to use a popsicle stick to kind of attach it to the back of the ruler. Just to kind of offset the width of it a little bit. I can't really chew it down any further. And so let me show you how I'm going to do that. I just use a jumbo popsicle stick. And I'm just going to cut it into a little piece like that can stick out from behind the ruler that I can then use to attach the driftwood to that. So I'm just going to use hot glue. And I have like the ridge where the stickers were. That's going to be the back of my project. And I glue it onto the back. Add some hot glue to the front and just glue my driftwood piece. It's very fragile. I think I pushed on it a little too hard and cracked it. But I'm committed, so I just glued it back together, and being broken, I think even adds more character to the driftwood look. And now it's just a matter of putting this together. I can do a couple at a time before my hot glue sets up, so I still have them lined up how I wanted them, from smallest to largest. And I can do like 2 or 3 here at a time with my hot glue, and I'm just trying to center that on the wood ruler and just gluing it straight to it. I use Gorilla Glue hot glue, which holds up really well for my wood projects like this, so I think that this should be no exception. And I'm going to do that all the way till I get to the bottom here. And I did cut the ruler slightly. I cut the circle off the end just because I thought it was going to be a little bit too long, and I'm really glad I did that because it would be harder to do that now. And then I just hot glued that bottom piece of driftwood to the base. And we have the structure of the lighthouse. I think it's looking really cute. What do you guys think? Now, even though it's rustic, I still wanted to give it like windows. And so I'm just going to use a paint pen. I chose like this beachy blue color of my Posca paint pen. And I'm just going to draw a little rectangle on there and just kind of color it in. It's going to be over multiple wood slices. So it's going to be like on 2 or 3. But I'm just trying to space that out, and let's do a third window right up here. I'm just doing rectangular windows just because I thought it would be easier. And then I just want a simple hanger for the back. I actually picked up these little hangers on Amazon. A lot of times I have some left over from the Dollar Tree things that I take apart. But I just wanted a quick little hanger here for the back, and I wanted it to be really sturdy. So I'm actually going to screw that in. I can screw it through the popsicle stick and the driftwood. But first I just need to drill a hole in it, and that is what I did, and I'm just going to screw this in. I found that the popsicle stick did want to split even though I pre-drilled it, but it's probably just because it's a popsicle stick, but I think it's going to be plenty sturdy. I used a little extra hot glue just to make sure on top of my screw to secure it. And then for like, I think it's called the gallery up here. I'm just going to give a very abstract one with a white paint pen and just kind of draw that on and kind of draw some lines down just to give a little bit of separation in that area. And then I thought it'd be really cute to decorate the base of it. So I'm just using some seashells here from the Dollar Tree. I get these little starfish from Amazon. I love those. Those are in my shop. And then I have a couple little beach finds from when I went to Sanibel Island a few weeks ago. And then I like to do odd numbers. So I think 5 is going to look really good on this. And I just attached them all with a little bit of hot glue. Now, it's not a super large project, but I think it turned out so cute. Now, you wouldn't have to do a hanging one if you had like a wider base, but I think this is going to look really cute. I think I'm going to hang this in my kitchen area of my house. It's definitely going to go with the coastal feel. And I'm really glad that I stained some of that driftwood. I think it gives it so much character. So that is our first Dollar Tree beach DIY. What do you guys think about this one? I hope you love it as much as I do. If you're enjoying today's video, be sure to hit that like button. It always helps my videos do better here on YouTube. Okay, for the next DIY, I was thinking I wanted to do like a sea glass wreath. And I also wanted to incorporate a sign that you guys have been asking how to DIY. So these are just the sea glass from Dollar Tree. I also picked up one of their wood wreath forms and some Dollar Tree rope. I ended up only needing one package of that. It's going to be kind of a background to the sea glass. Now, this sea glass is like different colors. There's like a royal blue, a green, a light blue, and like a white. The only one that I don't really like is the green. I don't think that really goes with the coastal feel of my house. So I'm just going to save that for another project. So just trying to look at what I have here. Most of the pieces are small enough to work with. A couple of them are really big. And actually, I did try to break some of them for this project, and it's harder to break them than I would think. I'm going to use some super strong glue. This is the Gorilla Clear Grip. Just because I want this to stick, and working with glass like this, I want to have the option to put this outside if I wanted to, and I don't want any of these stones falling off. And so it's a really thick glue. It dries pretty fast and it's really strong. I just start with some light blue, then white, then royal, and I'm going to continue that pattern all the way around. The sea glass from Dollar Tree usually has like a flat edge on there, so that's what I'm kind of looking for. And I also want it to be very random, like what direction it's facing, but I'm trying to cover as much as the reform as I can. That wood wreath form is like a MDF material. It's not a really pretty wood, but I don't mind the color of it shining through like the white ones, which are kind of more clear, and the blue ones, as you can see. I think it's going to add kind of the coastal feel that it's got like a wood wreath form. So I needed another package here, and just kind of pick my green out of those as well, just because I need to repeat that pattern. So I need like the right size, and I need like the right color scheme going around. And I'm actually going to incorporate these colors into the sign that I'm going to hang inside this wreath as well. I don't use these wreath forms much from Dollar Tree, but after doing this one, I was kind of a big fan. Sometimes you want like a thinner wreath form like this, and I really kind of like the simplicity of it, the versatility. The first time I saw one of these at Dollar Tree, I was like, what is this? But it is a wreath form. They do have them at some of my stores. When I get here to the end, I tried to space it out, even using some larger ones so that my pattern doesn't get interrupted as I went around the wreath form. Now at this point, I think it's too skinny. It still needs something. So I'm going to frame out the sea glass with Dollar Tree white rope. This is the 6-foot white rope, which is a little bit on the thicker side, but you could use either one. I think that this one's going to provide like the right thickness just to be able to use one piece. And I'm going to do that on the inside and the outside of that wreath form. So I had just flipped it over. I let it set up a little bit, but that glue actually dries a little bit faster than you would think it would. And I'm actually going to use hot glue for this part of it. And I just put glue along the inside edges, and I'm attaching the white rope all the way around. This also kind of glues it to the sea glass, which is going to further glue the sea glass to the project and make it even more sturdy. So I just cut it and end it right here. That is actually going to be the top of my wreath form where the rope kind of starts and stops, or I can try to cover it up a little bit. I start with just a simple macrame cord hanger. I do end up replacing that with something else just because I wanted to cover up the ends of the rope a little bit better. And I still have plenty of rope left with the 6 foot that I can then go around the outside of it. So I'm going to use that same piece. And again, just starting in the same place that I started before, I'm hot gluing the white rope to the outside. And I think it really doesn't look like a wreath quite yet with just the skinny wreath and the sea glass. I think this gives it more of the wreath-like feel. And it's a pretty nice size. So when I get here to the end, I'm going to find out exactly how long I need it. It worked out perfectly. And I just hot glue that there to start and stop right there at the top. And you can also kind of glue down like some of your frayed edges to kind of hide them, make them blend in a little bit more there. And I think it's looking really coastal and cute so far. Now that's when I decided I didn't really like the way that the hanger was. I didn't think it really covered up the start and stop of the rope very well. So I'm actually going to use that same like macrame cord. I chose 2 pieces. I looped it inside and then I'm going to tie a knot on this end. And then just kind of thread that through, like slip knotting that around. And it's going to wrap the rope a little bit better and help keep that look together, make it look more finished. I probably don't need it quite that long though, so I shortened it a little bit, but that provided a really nice wreath hanger for this project. And then I told you I was going to put a sign inside. A lot of you guys were telling me on my Facebook group the other day that you picked up these mermaid signs from your crafter square and you didn't know what to do with them or how to paint them, so I'm going to show you how I did mine. Again, I'm going to use those same 3 colors that we used for sea glass. So this is like a navy blue. And what I'm doing with this one is just pushing it down. I want all of the background to be like that dark blue color, which is a color I don't use often. It's a little bit more of a nautical feel, but I'm going to distress it quite a bit. And I am using a brush because I really have to get it down in all those little cutouts. Sometimes these signs from the Dollar Tree are not my favorite just because they are hard to paint. It's true. So sometimes I even whitewash them or stain them a little bit just because they are kind of difficult to paint. And I do that all the way around. It's got like a mermaid tail and it's got like a wave. Super cute little sign. And this is not shore living. This is in like your regular crafter square, like along with like the regular mermaid signs that they have there now. And I also switched to a tiny brush just to make sure I got all of those little openings. Blue, I didn't really want any kind of natural wood shining through. And since this is a reef, I want the back to look kind of finished too. And I figured that I would have like some of the paint bleeding back here. It's just going to look a little bit more finished and professional if I paint the back of it. And so I just go over the back of it with more of the navy just to finish that off. Now for the ocean part, I want it to be blue. This is like Cloudless by Apple Barrel, very soft blue. And I'm just using a makeup sponge and I am dragging it over the top slice of wood, trying not to get any on the blue if I can help it. But I am going to distress the piece, so it probably doesn't even matter. And I do all of the ocean in that like light blue color to stand out against the blue background, but I also do the mermaid tail too. I'm going to further paint that a different color just to make it stand out a little bit, but just trying to get that painted as neatly as I can. I found that the makeup sponge definitely works the best for that. For the mermaid tail, I thought I needed to be more specific, so I went in with a paintbrush and I found that I really got a lot on the background using the paintbrush, so I think I definitely preferred the makeup sponge route. I've been having trouble finding the little makeup sponges at Dollar Tree, but I was able to get them pretty inexpensive off Amazon. I'll have to check to see if I have those in my Amazon shop under paint supplies because I really love them. They're definitely a go-to. And as you can see how much paint I got there on the back. I'm also going to do this area right over here with the white just to kind of make it contrast. And I guess it's not white, it's more of like an ivory. And I didn't like how much white, I didn't want the whole thing to be filled in like that. So I just used that tiny brush and my navy and I went in and tried to fill it in a little bit. Next time I'll just use makeup sponges. Definitely works better. I thought the smaller brush I'd have more control, but I really didn't. And then once I got a little bit dry, I go over it with ivory. With a makeup sponge this time, it works way better. And then I have those same colors, that white, that light blue, that dark blue from the sea glass. And then I wanted to distress it, of course. So I use that light blue color. I kind of distress all over to give it that coastal farmhouse feel. And this part is totally optional. I blend it with like a baby wipe, get it how I like it. And I'm actually going to distress it even a little bit more. Now, it does have a place for a hanger, so I'm going to use that macrame cord that I have left over from a project, and I'm just going to use that to attach it, have it hang, dangle down inside the wreath. It's the perfect size for this. And I'm just going to knot it. I can then just attach that to the back of my wreath. Nothing fancy. I just use a little bit of hot glue. It's not a very heavy sign, so I think that's going to stay in place nicely. I just make sure I get it centered where it's going to hang well, right there in the center of my wreath. That's when I was like, you know what? I do want to distress it a little bit more. And to do that, I'm going to do like a whitewash. So I mix some of that ivory paint with just some water. And I'm just going to kind of soak all of these like darker colors with that, let that soak in a little bit. And that in addition to like using my heat gun, it's going to give it just a very weathered feel. I just wanted it to look more weathered and less bold. So that's what I did. Just a quick whitewash on there and then just went in and dried it with my heat gun. And now I like the color scheme even better. Let me show you how this one turned out. I think the sea glass is so pretty. And here is a use for that little mermaid sign and a way to paint it. What do you guys think about this one? I think it's really fun, definitely unique. I just kind of had an idea for this one and I went with it and I'm so glad. I've never made a sea glass wreath before. Now for the next DIY, I wanted to make a centerpiece for my table. And I'm going to do that with one of these long board signs from the Dollar Tree. It doesn't matter which one it is. I'm going to use the zigzag one because I use that probably less than some of the other ones. And I just removed the hanger from the back and the staples because this is going to sit, the bottom of the sign is going to sit on my table. And it's a nice size for a centerpiece. So I wanted to do a fun coastal centerpiece. I've been to Sanibel recently, so I have lots of shells and I need some ways to display it. For the sides of the box, I'm just using some of these 5-gallon paint stirrer sticks. These are from Walmart. They're only like a couple of dollars. You get 3 in a package. And I'm going to cut down one of them into 2 side pieces, which I do measure separately because Dollar Tree signs are not always perfectly symmetrical. And I just give them a quick sanding and I just went edge to edge. Now for the long sides of the box, I'm going to actually put my sides on there so that I can work around them. That way I don't really have to do any mitering of the corners or anything like that. And basically I'm just cutting the handle off. The reason I'm using the 5-gallon paint stirrer sticks is because they're long enough. You could always use Dollar Tree craftwood for this as well. But I really wanted something thin. This is not going to be shown in the final box really so much. It's going to be kind of the structure. To attach it, I just do a little bit of hot glue on the outside of the frame like that. Make sure I get like a 90-degree angle that it's going straight up, and I'm just going to glue both sides on first. Just like that. And I like the fact that it's wood on the bottom, but we're actually going to cover it with seashells and sand. So again, it doesn't really matter which sign you start with. For this side, I just put glue all the way around, including the pieces that we added, and glue that piece in place. Try to get my corners as straight as possible. And then I do the same thing here with the other side. We're going to wrap this little centerpiece, coastal centerpiece, in rope. So I don't really care what the finish is. I don't really care that my corners are not perfect on this. Again, I was just looking for the structure of a centerpiece box. So that looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and start with the rope. I'm going to be using this Dollar Tree rope. It is like the 6-foot white rope. It's a little bit thicker. And just removing the tape from the end. I'm actually going to start and stop here at the end where you would think that there would be like handles. And we're going to do like a little faux handle look on this. And that will hide where the rope starts and stops. Now, the sides are about 3 rope thick, so I'm going to have to go around 3 times with the rope. So I go around 1 time, and I don't want to wrap it like around and around because I want everything to be flat. So I just cut it once I get to where I started and finish off that row. I have enough of the rope to go like half the way around, but not all the way, but I'm going to go with it since we can have handles on the end. That's going to cover that up. So I just start in the same place that I did before and hot glue that to the middle of the other side, then cutting that down to size so that I can start and stop right where I want to. Going to start another package of this rope and just gluing it right here where we stopped. I'm going to do like a half a side or the like half of it, like one side like I did before, starting and stopping here. And then I should have plenty left on that package to go all the way around for the final. And that's going to take us all the way to the lip of it. And I really love the white nautical rope from the Dollar Tree because it doesn't have all that fuzziness that you're going to get with the brown. It looks super coastal or nautical. And I think it's going to look really cute with this centerpiece project. This would be great on a coffee table as well. I'm going to use mine on my table. My husband always hates like a tall centerpiece where you can't see each other. And so small ones like this work really well for us. Now for the faux handles, I'm just going to use burlap ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to kind of wrap it around. So I just need a little piece like that. I'm going to glue it inside here, inside the box that we made. And then it's going to kind of give you the illusion of a handle. I'm not really going to have it be a functional handle. And just wrap that around where I can glue it on the underside. It's going to cover up all the start and stop areas of the rope and make it look cleaner. And it looks coastal as well with a little burlap addition. It stands out nicely against that nautical rope. And then I'm just going to do the same thing here on the other side. I just glued it to the bottom and cut it off and glued it down inside the box. Now I want this to be like a candle centerpiece, something that we can light up. And so to do that, I'm going to use some Dollar Tree candles. Here's a little view of what it looks like so far. It looks pretty cute actually just as a tray, doesn't it? With that zigzag pattern. These are the candles we're going to use. You get 2 of them in a package at the Dollar Tree for $1.25. And I like odd numbers, so I'm going to use a 3. If you were going to make a longer one of these, you could do even 5. And I'm just going to use a little dot of hot glue just to make sure they stay in place. By gluing these down, I think that looks pretty good. Now, I have a whole bunch of seashells that I found in Sanibel, but I want to put them in a bed of sand. I thought that would be cute. So I had like just a partial package of like the tan sand from the Dollar Tree. And then I'm going to add more from another package. I did notice a little bit of mix match in color there, but that's okay. I'm just going to mix it all together and make it look more consistent. And then it's time for the fun part, the seashells. When my son and I went to Sanibel a few weeks ago, we found so many seashells, but only on one beach. The beach by the lighthouse found so many pretty seashells, as you can see. So I want to display them and have some fun with them in the centerpiece. So I'm just going to start spreading them all around. Beautiful conchs, all different kinds of seashells. Awesome. If you've been following my social media or my community tab, you'll see that we actually just got back from the Florida Keys. We were staying down in Marathon. That's not a good place for shelling. I really don't have anything to show for that trip, but we had such a wonderful vacation down there. We toured a sea turtle hospital, and we had so much fun. And I am just going to keep adding seashells. I have most of these, I think almost all of these are actually things that I found at the beach. There may be like a few Dollar Tree shells thrown in here and there, but I just want just a huge variety. I want it to be really full, You could kind of go crazy with this and not even need the sand because you could just keep piling the seashells in there. I just want everything that we found to be on display and fun. So this is it, my little beach centerpiece. I think it is so pretty. As you can see, a wide variety of shells, really colorful shells. I did wash them all. They look great. And it's going to look so cute lit up on my table, I think. Really easy structure to build. Anybody could really do it. Even if you don't have like a power saw like me, those little paint stir sticks are going to be pretty easy for you to cut down to size. And this is how it looks lit up at night. Hey guys, have you joined my private Facebook group yet? I have it linked in the description attached to this video. We would love to see what you've been making, and you can find out when I post new content. I also have a Facebook page, an Instagram, a TikTok, and a Pinterest. My handle on everything is Crafty Beach on YouTube. Okay, for the next DIY, I'm going to use some of these wood wall shelves from the Dollar Tree. I love these things. I only need the wood slices. The reason I love to craft with these, you can put as many together as you want to make whatever size project you want. You have a nice, thick, flat piece of wood that won't bow or anything like that. And I think I'm going to need 3 for this project. So just seeing which way looks the best. I think they look really good like that. And then it's just a matter of gluing them together. They're thick enough that if you use hot glue like this and glue them together, it's going to give you a sturdy sign. What I wanted was a blank canvas because we're going to be doing another DIY with seashells that I found at the beach and also Dollar Tree rope. So I glued 3 of them together. I'm going to have a tall sign. And these are the shells I'm going to be using for this project. I found hundreds of these shells. As you can tell, they're like still attached. I'm just breaking them apart. Some of them are bigger than others, but that's okay. I can just do like a row of bigger ones like this as long as I cross all the way across. And I tried to see if anybody else had done a project like this using shells for a canvas, and I couldn't find anything on the internet. So I had to use my imagination and see what we could come up with here. What I want the shells to look like is the ocean. So I'm going to be painting those. I want to do like kind of an ombre effect on those, but I also want like a curvy line for a beach to kind of do like a multimedia on this. And I love how this project turned out. It's so pretty. So that's why I went down further on one side like that. I wanted to like kind of swirl. So I'm trying to imagine how I want the beach to swirl up against my ocean. And I think I'm happy with that. Now it's just a matter of gluing these all down. I thought about painting them first so that when I paint these with spray paint that I could do like a different color or a stain for the background. But then I decided I really wanted the blue ocean to be on the back of the sign as well as the seashells. So I thought I would go ahead and attach the seashells first. On these, I just have to do a little bit of hot glue on the lip, and also there's a base that works nicely for that. And some of these kind of go over the edge a little bit, but that's okay. I just try to minimize that if I can. And I just want to try to fill in as much of the sign with the seashells as possible, providing me that canvas. As you can see, they're nice, kind of simple shells. They don't have like a lot of texture on them. They almost give you like a very glossy appearance once we paint them. And it's going to be a really fun way to kind of do like an ombre beach scene with spray paint. I always try to pick up like beachy blue colors so that I always have some spray paint laying around in like different shades of blue. So I think we can make that work really well for this. But it's just a matter of getting all of these little shells glued down. There are holes in the wood shelf so that you can hang the wood shelf. And I'm trying to cover them with seashells if I can. I end up with like, I think one there on the left or the bottom that you see that's not covered. But I will go ahead and fill that up just for consistency. And again, I just want the shells to be the background for the canvas. Just a few more here and we've got them all glued down. Now, you don't want any of the hot glue visible if you can help it, because when you paint it with the spray paint, you're going to be able to see it. And then to cover that little hole, I just used a little bit of spackle. The other holes I don't really need to worry about because we're going to be using rope for the beach. So I'm going to use a box. I do my crafting in my garage, so I can do some spray painting out here. This is like a soft blue color. I end up kind of changing where I thought maybe a sky for this, but then I kind of remembered that I was doing like layers of the beach. So I probably shouldn't have started with the lighter color of blue, but we're going to make it work. I just sprayed that part with the blue, and then I'm going in with like kind of a teal color here. And then the last color of blue that I had was this kind of a sea glass color. And we're just going to kind of spray paint it here. And you can see that the colors blend really nice together with spray paint. It gives you that just automatic like ombre look, but it's so easy to do, which is one reason why I like to use spray paint for projects. That's when I realized I probably should have used the darker color at the top. So it's okay. We can switch it up. So I did like the teal, the turquoise, and then I did the lighter blue in the front, which is really what I intended to do in the first place. And the lighter blue is so light blue that it almost looks a little bit more like seafoam. So I think that looks good. Once I got them all painted, I just went in and gave them a quick dry with my heat gun. And then to add like a little bit of variety, like white caps, I go in and spray a little bit of that lighter light blue here and there just to give it a little bit of color variation in the ocean scene of our, I guess, shell painting. So I think that looks pretty good. And we can start with the beach part. I think the colors blend together really nicely. For this, I'm just using scraps I have of Dollar Tree brown rope. I always save my scraps for these. You kind of end up with a lot. And the wider brown rope like this from the Dollar Tree, I've been having problems finding it. I've only been finding like the thin kind. So I'm going to go ahead and use up what I have. I have a million scraps here, so I think it's going to work perfect for this. I just follow kind of the line that I automatically have from the seashells there and do a swirly line with my rope, attaching it with hot glue as I go. Doesn't have to make any sense. Like when the ocean wave comes in, it's very random. All you know is it's going to be curvy in some way. So I think this is going to work really well for this. Right next to it for the second row, I just go in and hot glue it again. The curves might get a little bit less wavy as they go down, but again, I want to continue that wavy pattern. And I thought that the addition of the brown rope really gives it a multimedia feel with all the fun textures of the seashells for the ocean and then the fun texture of the brown rope for the beach. I really dig it. I think it's really fun. Another option you could do is you could glue sand to it. It's probably going to be a little bit more difficult with a vertical sign like this, but you could totally do it with a little school glue, sand, and then probably some spray glue for the top. Now, as you can see, I really don't have quite as much wiggle room here because I worked my way off the sign, and I'm kind of starting and stopping just kind of randomly there. I'm trying to make sure my rope is long enough. I can always go in and trim it later to make the edges uniform. I'm not going to do any kind of frame or anything on this. The project is pretty thick on its own with the addition of the seashells and the rope that I really don't think it needs it. And I kind of like the rustic feel of it not having a frame. So like right now, I'm just down to a swirl and I'm going to continue that. Great way to use up all my leftover rope here until I get all the way down into the corner there. Really fun and easy to do. And I think that does give you the appearance of sand because you've got that brown color. I'm going to add some Dollar Tree beach items to it as well to make it look even more coastal. The corner gets a little tricky here because you don't want your rope to unwind, but if you glue it to each other, it should be fine. And that's when I go in and just trim it up. So I just use some sharp scissors. I try to get it as close to the wood boards or the wood shelves as I can. And isn't that a really fun idea? I just had this kind of pictured in my mind. I have so many of these white seashells that I'm looking for ways to DIY with them, and I thought this was a really fun idea. The consistency of them all being the same shell definitely helps. And if you've ever been to Sanibel, you'll know you'll get tons of one kind of shell because they have like die-offs where all the shelled animals die at the same time. And to the sand, I'm going to add a Dollar Tree starfish and a Dollar Tree sand dollar. These are from the Shore Living line. They're just like white resin, and I'm just going to attach them to our faux sand with some hot glue. They're nice and large, and so is the project, so I think that goes well together. Now, the shells are really shiny, and probably some of my spray paint was kind of shiny too. So I am going to go over it with a couple coats of matte finish sealer to try to take the shine down a little bit. I don't mind it being a little bit shiny, but it was really shiny. And so I just go over it with a couple coats. It's probably going to help seal that paint on my seashells as well. And I absolutely love how this project turned out. It's so fun. This would be great for summer or coastal decor. I haven't decided where I'm going to put it in my house, but I think I'm just going to use it as a leaner sign like this. You could always hang it on the wall simply by adding a hanger to the back. But look at that beautiful ombre blue ocean coming down to our rope beach. So I incorporated a little bit of rope art in there as well. And the sand dollar and starfish, I think, really finish it off. What do you guys think about my shell ocean? Now for the next project, I wanted to do a shell encrusted mirror. So I'm going to use one of these new mirrors from the Dollar Tree. It's like an arch shape. I think these are so cool. The only thing I don't like about it is that it's black, but we can always change that, right? So I'm just going to remove the back. It's like a paper frame background with 5 screws on it with a mirror inside. So very convenient. We can take it all apart to paint it. I'm also going to be using a Dollar Tree little plank sign there for the base. Nice heavy duty sign. And I want to encrust the entire frame with seashells. So again, I told you I found a ton of these seashells in Sanibel. If you guys have seen my pictures that I posted of my haul, these are the seashells. I'm also going to use some Dollar Tree seashells in there as well, but most of these are going to be from Sanibel. And I'm laying it all out so I can see what kind of variety I have, what's going to fit well. I'm going to paint them, so I don't want to paint too many of them because I want it to be all like one color. And I'm happy with that. I think that looks pretty. I want to kind of remember where everything goes, so I move them exactly how I had them inside my box so that I can paint them, and I'm just going to use some spray paint. I want everything to be like a ivory color. This is the spray paint I'm going to use. It's called Sand Dollar. It's one of my favorite like white colors. It's kind of like an antique white sand dollar color. And I kind of want that bleached shell look. So I'm going to spray them all that color. Some of them are like conch shells and stuff like that. So I'm trying to make sure that I get them good and covered. And I wanted to paint these separately because I was concerned I didn't want to be painting like hot glue because I have a lot of hot gluing to glue those onto the frame. And I wanted to make sure that the frame underneath of it is going to be nice and consistently ivory too, since it's that black plastic. So those look pretty good. I'm going to kind of transfer those out. Again, I kind of remembered there where every single thing went. And then we can paint the frame. Now, this is plastic. It does spray paint okay. I probably should have used some thinner coats because I did have a little bit of bleeding on these, which is like dripping, you know, on the sides. But I was going for a coastal cottage feel, so it doesn't have to be perfect. But thin coats with spray paint usually does work a little bit better. I was trying to cover that dark color as quickly as I could, so that's probably my problem. But that looks good, and I think the combination of the white shells, this sign for the base, and the frame is going to look really good. That sign is a little too thick though, so I did cut one of the slats off of it to make a skinnier base for my frame. It's the perfect width. And now it's just a matter of attaching all of those seashells. I didn't paint the undersides of them, so I think they should still be easy to hot glue on. And depending on the shell, Depends on how I glue them. I try to do like the outer rim on these ones, but like the conch shells and stuff like that, just a dot of hot glue on the bottom where you're going to make good contact is going to work well. I did the bottom first and then I started there on the top just so I would know kind of where to start and stop. And I'm trying to make it look encrusted. I'm not going to layer them. Everything's just kind of side by side, just hot gluing those on. And I really like the consistency of having everything be the same color. But if you had maybe this frame, I don't know if it comes in white, this mirror, but maybe if you already had a white, you could do like your natural color for the shells, and it would look really pretty too. Because of course the patterns of the shells are pretty. And then I just laid this out on this side and hot glued them all down. Just making sure that I got my mirror good and clean before we go ahead and put this back together. And again, it's just a frame. So I'm just going to pop that art-shaped mirror in the back. And I really love this size mirror from Dollar Tree. I was really excited to find this. Then pop the back on there. It is still black, but it's the back. I don't think you're going to be able to see it. If you were, you could always paint that as well. And it's just a matter of putting it back together with the 5 screws. And if you wanted to hang your project, it does have a hanger there on the back of it as well. But I wanted mine to be a standing mirror and have a base. So I want to attach it about halfway here on that wood sign that we cut down to size. So I just do a bead of hot glue here where the frame is going to meet up. And then we're just going to stand that right up there. Let that dry for a few minutes to set up, and it seems like it's pretty sturdy. And it's a really cute little shell encrusted mirror. If you had like a larger mirror or a thrifted mirror, you could go crazy and definitely make a larger one as well. I love the simplicity of just that sand dollar color. Look at all the beautiful textures of the shells. I love that some of them even have holes in them and are random. Really reminds me of that coastal cottage feel. So that is a fun way to use seashells with these new Dollar Tree mirrors. I think it looks really cute. Hey guys, have you visited my new website yet? It is craftybeach.net. I do need to update it. I have a lot of vacations on my plate right now. Family vacation coming up with my husband's family, so hopefully I'll have time to update this a little bit. But as you can see, every time I do a YouTube video, I am then going to do a blog post. I do make this from scratch, so that's why it does take a little bit of time. But once you go on the link, I'm going to have a photo of every DIY I made in that video that you can pin on Pinterest. So you can remember to go back and make it, add it to your ideas. If you scroll down, you're going to find the YouTube video, the description. I have everything organized by season. It's pretty new. So right now I have Easter, spring, coastal, 4th of July, and tier trays. I even have links to my Amazon shop for the products that I recommend. So that will be easy for you to find. And I even have a link to my Etsy shop for all of those fun crafting printables that you guys love so much. So be sure to check out my new website. I'm really excited to bring it to you. It is craftybeach.net, no com on the end, just .net, and I hope you enjoy it. Now for the next beach DIY, I wanted to do a fun turtle tray. I picked up this silicone tray mold. They're about $5, $5.48 right now on Etsy. And as you can see, it's a large silicone mold for a turtle. I wanted to do a fun resin project for this to make my own tray. Now, my Dollar Tree, I just used all of my Dollar Tree resin for that resin video I just did. So I had to get Mod Podge resin, which I got on Amazon, but it's about the same price per ounce as the Dollar Tree, maybe even a little bit cheaper. And it's just like the Dollar Tree resin where you have part A, part B, you mix equal amounts. I tried to not use all of it for this project, even though it's a large tray, because I'm going to be adding something to it. I was watching another YouTuber, I think it was Steve McDonald, And he does a lot of resin videos, and he was doing some really fun mix-ins. If you've seen my recent video where I did beach resin DIYs, I mixed together like a paper, like hamster bedding into the resin. It turned out really cool. Another idea that Steve had was to use like the wood filler that you can use for pets as well. So I wanted to do that to see if I can make my own like wood look sea turtle tray. So this is what I'm talking about. You use it for bunnies, guinea pigs. This one's made out of aspen, but it's just basically like just little flakes of wood. So I thought it'd be a really fun idea to try this method with something coastal. So I'm going to go ahead and try to add a lot of this. I want it to look like a wood tray. And the fun thing about this is you can use it for a display tray or you can use it for food. After the Mod Podge resin, I checked the Mod Podge resin is food safe after it cures, which takes about 7 days. So you can use it in the kitchen as well. So I kind of split it up into 2 solo cups so I'd have more room and added these fluffy little wood chips to it. And then it's just a matter of coating them with the resin that had already mixed up. You have to mix it slowly. You don't want a lot of air in it. Adding something like this is going to add some air to it. So I'm going to try to take as many methods as I can to get rid of it. I added a little bit more wood here. And I actually ended up with like a drier mixture than I wanted. I did coat everything, but I didn't think there was enough resin in this. So we will be adding more resin to it for sure. But I take half of it and we're going to do the top half of the turtle. And I even thought about making this into a tiered tray because I do have like a medium-sized sea turtle as well. With that ocean bundle of resin molds that I got on Amazon that you could do for the top of the tier tray. And I thought about it, but I decided to just go with one large turtle tray. So for the other half of the resin with wood in here, I'm going to put this in the bottom half and I'm just spreading it out. I get those silicone popsicle sticks on Amazon. I have those linked in my Amazon shop as well as the Mod Podge resin. I know that you can get the Mod Podge resin at Walmart, but my Walmart doesn't seem to carry it. So I just order it on Amazon. Easy, fast shipping. And that's when I was like, I think it's too dry. I really don't think it's going to hold up. So I think I need to add more resin to it. And so I'm going to finish off these bottles. This is a large tray. I had measured that it was going to take pretty much the entire thing of Mod Podge to fill it up when I measured it with water. But I thought that the wood would displace enough stuff that I wouldn't have to use that much resin. But it seemed to soak the resin up, which is okay. So I just add more to make sure that everything is wet because it seemed really like a dry mixture. And I think this is such a fun idea for being able to make your own like shape of a wood product. It's going to be glossy, of course, because it's resin, but it's going to have like a plywood look. It's really an interesting piece. So I just make sure everything is as level as I can get it. The bottom of this will be bumpy, just the natural flow of what I added to it. And it's so large, I actually had to use a pizza box to be able to move this around to let this set up overnight and to harden. I am just trying to level it out. You can get in there with your gloved hands. I do wear a mask and I also use safety goggles, gloves, and I do work in my garage. That way I have good ventilation because you do have to be careful with resin. I did find that I still wanted a tiny bit more resin. And so I did have a couple packages of the Dollar Tree. I just mixed a little 1 ounce B and A up just to add a little bit more resin. I don't know if this part was necessary, but I was concerned with the flippers and the head that it still wasn't quite wet enough, and it worked really well. So I'm glad I added more. This is the sea turtle the next day. We're just going to remove the silicone mold. I love this. I actually, got it on Temu because very inexpensive. First time I've used that website. And this is how my wood turtle turned out. I found that there was a few places where you could see the wood kind of sticking out from the sides. a little bit of overfill that I just trimmed down with some scissors. You can see that bumpy side, which is the bottom, but the top of it is glossy smooth. Now, I told you I wanted to make it a tray. So to do that, I just took one of those little wood puzzles from the toy aisle at Dollar Tree and took it apart, and I have these little wood cubes that I can use for feet. Now, when I was reading on the package of the glue, it said for a stronger hold, add the glue to both surfaces first, let it sit for 2 minutes, and then add it together. And since I do need these feet to be really strong, attaching to the resin, that is what I did. So I put glue everywhere I wanted one of those feet to be. Just under the shell part of the turtle, I think is going to work really well. And then I let those sit for 2 minutes, and now I'm going in and attaching each one, just making sure that you can't see any of the holes in it, since they have kind of irregular holes on them, being part of that wood puzzle. You could also use the little wood cubes from the Crafter Square at the Dollar Tree. That would work well. I just needed some little feet to prop it up and to make it a tray. I am going to plan on using this in my kitchen for food. I'm going to show you how you can also use it for display, though, as just a wood sea turtle. Isn't that so cool? So thanks to Steve McDonald for that great idea. He always has great resin ideas. If you're just getting into resin, be sure to check out his channel. I think he just does resin, and his videos are really helpful, and he does really fun experiments with add-ins like these wood chips. So this is how my sea turtle turned out. I think it's really interesting and fun. And again, you could do a medium-sized turtle and even a smaller turtle on top. You could do a tier tray and kind of build your way up. And who knows, maybe I'll do that in a future project. This is how it looks just displayed with some Dollar Tree coastal items to use it as a beach tray. So that's a fun idea as well. And you've made it all the way to the final reveal for all 6 of our beach DIYs. I hope you got some fun crafting inspiration out of today's video and enjoyed what I came up with. Be sure to comment your favorite item or just say hello in the comments below. Comments always help my videos do better here on YouTube, and the summer has been slow, so enjoy the final reveal.
For better days to come and carry us like wind in our sails. Hold on tight, I can smell the shore, it's right in front of us if we just hold on tight. This vision that I saw is getting closer every dawn. We are dreamers of the shore. 7 years now on this boat, and we all know where we belong. Just wait. For our home to show on the horizon, soon we'll be there. Hold on tight, I can smell the shore, it's right in front of us if we just hold on tight. This vision that I saw is getting closer every dawn.
Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of today's video. I also want to give a huge thank you to all of my Crafty Beach Bum members for supporting my channel here on YouTube. Thank you to Karen O'Haron, Melinda Elizabeth, Jamie Job, Susan Edmonds, Tracy Knight, Nancy Wunner, Janae Farrington, Julie Miller, Pamelia Wren, Maria Grace, Donna Schreiner, Sandy C., Debbie DeLay, Ariana's Mama, Live Another Day, Tracy Wooldridge, Marin Christensen, and our newest member, Debbie Middleton. Thank you so much. If you would like to be a member, all you have to do is hit the join button next to my video today. It's $4.99 a month. You can cancel anytime, and you're going to get from early ad-free access to my videos here on YouTube. Now, if you'd like more crafting inspiration, I have you covered. Check out this YouTube video right here. And until next time, happy crafting, everybody.